Hello, beautiful people. Happy Saturday. If you're listening to the replay, happy Monday. Love laughter. I am your girl and your host, Nikki. Y'all like when I add the I'm getting fancy with it, y'all. I'm getting fancy with it. So listen, thank you so much again for the overwhelming love and support. You all have absolutely no idea how much it all means to me. I cannot put it into words. I can't describe it, which, is very rare for me to not have words, but I just thank you all so much for the love and support. It really means so much to me. So just want to go over some things in the beginning. So if you ever miss an episode of Life, Love, Laughter, it replays on Mondays at 6:30 a.m. So on your way to work, you want to listen to your girl, listen to your girl. Right now, that's the only way to listen. If you don't listen, you miss it. Back in the day when we used to have radio and you couldn't go back, that's how it is. It just gives you, it gets everybody in the feeling again, right? We are in a different society where everything is on demand, but this platform right now, you have to actually dial in. So not dial in, child, that was the wrong word. You actually have to tune in when it plays. So if you haven't already, please download the Spinwax Radio app. Under the shows, there are so many beautiful, talented artists and people that are offering all kinds of things. They have financial shows, there's live DJs, you have female DJs, hey, you have male DJs. You are talking about just the world as it comes, talking about um, empowerment, all kinds of things are available on the Spinwax Radio app. So if you haven't already done so, please download the app. It means so much to me, means so much to the Spinwax Radio team. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you in advance for doing that. If you don't know how to download the app, call your nephew or your niece or someone that can help you download the app so that you can be in the know with everybody else. If you once you download the app, or if you are just online, if you look at I call it the hamburger, but the three lines, you click there. There's all kinds of options for you. You can look up the host, anyone who's hosting the show. Like if there's something that you seem to be interested in, you can find their times available there. So go ahead and do that, and we will get the show started. So this week, I wanted to talk about kids. I know it's a very, very, very broad topic, so I'm going to try my very best to stay on course. But listen, kids, kids, oh Lord, kids. Okay, so first thing, shout out to the children, shout out to the parents. If you are a parent, or even if you're not a parent and you are part of a village, shout out to you, because it is tough. It is hard. It is one of the toughest jobs I have ever had. I think one of the reasons why is because there is no blueprint. And I say that because yes, there is a blueprint. Like your parents raised you a certain way, their parents raised them a certain way, your friends are raising their children a certain way, your family's raising their kids a certain way. But every single child is different. So something that may have worked for you or for your parents may not necessarily work for you or your children. You can read all the books in the world, but if your child ain't ready to sit on that potty and ain't ready to go pee or is not ready to be potty trained child, then they're not going to be potty trained simply because they don't want to be. And I think the hard part for me is, reading all the books. I'm lying, I ain't reading all the books, but having friends, that read all the books and they have all they have all the information and the knowledge that they need, and then they go into it parenting, and none of the stuff that they read is actually working for them, or they tell you, or I mean, I read a little bit less. I'm not gonna sell myself short. Read a little bit, but some of the stuff I read is like, well, that ain't work for my child. So what's next? And then you feel like a failure as a parent, right? Oh, I tried this. This is what this person is certified. They have 17,000 degrees and they said that this method should work, and I'm trying it and it's not working for my child. So then you start to doubt, well, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing something wrong as a parent? Is something wrong with my child? Today they can diagnose anything. So it's like, child have one of these things, one of these 1,000 things that has been mentioned, or should we diagnose them with that? So part of it is that, the self-doubt and not really knowing uh, what you're doing. I think for me, it was kind of like you do what you know, right? Parent like my parents. So my mom was a single mom and she parented a certain way. So you tend to learn that style. Or you have things like, okay, I was raised this way and I really like being raised that way. So let me change this up for me, or change this up for the way I'm bringing up my children. But you don't know it until you get into it, or you never know why your parents did things the way they did, unfortunately, because parents don't really talk to us like they used to anymore about parenting. um, so some of the things that I think are hard and different for me, I think parenting into submission was kind of like a style that I was familiar with, meaning, okay, you don't want to do that, then you're not going to have your iPad today. You don't want to clean up your room, then fine. You don't have your iPad today. Switching from that mindset was very different for me. And it's still very different for me because sometimes I'm like, let me just threaten them, because if I threaten them, now hold up, pause, let me stop right there. Somebody's like, oh my gosh, call Child Protective Services. She's threatening her kids. So two things. One, I'm not physically harming them. I guarantee you they are well taken care of. They're not being harmed at all. And number two, I promise you that CPS would return them in just a few days. I'm just kidding. They're really, really, really good kids. But I just like to tease and like to joke. Sometimes it's like I said, it's just really, really hard. And sometimes it feels like parenting into submission is the best thing, right? Because you get the fastest results. But I'm learning that in my parenting that it's not always the best, right? We create down in them and we create all kinds of things in them that they probably really don't need. Another thing that's new to me as a parent is apologizing. So, growing up as a child, I don't ever remember a parent or a grandparent apologizing to me for nothing, child. Okay. There is no reason why they apologize to me. Did you get a small switch? No, there is no apology. You go outside and you get another switch so I can tie these two switches together and I can whip your behind. Now, that was back in the day. That was not necessary. Listen, we grow, we learn, we grow. So even growing up with that, you're like, okay, when I have children, I'm going to whip, I'm going to, do all these things. And totally, I can't even begin to spank or any of that, because just the look of pure terror in my kid's face if you raise your voice at them is enough. Like, I feel like I'm removing a piece of their soul if I yell. So I know if I were to try to spank them or something like that, that would just tear them apart, tear me apart. And I don't think I have the heart for it, which probably goes to my next point, is maybe I'm a wimpy parent. Like, maybe I'm just a wimp. Like, I cannot take, I cannot do some of the things that my parents or grandparents used to do. It's just, I can't do it. I don't have the heart. I don't have the guts, but I'm also trying to mature and grow as a parent. I know that things were different then, times were different then, things were looked at different then. And I love that we have a different way of parenting, but it is you creating your own, right? There was a certain way your parents parented you, like I mentioned, but you are your own blueprint, so to speak. You are doing things differently for your children. Like I mentioned, apologizing. I don't know how many times I have yelled at my children and then apologized. And then I'm like, look at me apologizing to a 5-year-old. I'll give you a perfect example. This happened just yesterday. So buckle up, sit tight. Here we go. Just kidding. So my 5-year-old, a certain time at night, she turns into the Incredible Hulk. Just kidding. After a certain time at night, she's very exhausted. Mentally, she's drained and her body can't take it. That's mostly because she's an early riser. So shout out to all my Sunrise Squad people. They know sometimes when I'm working out in the morning, she's up. like 5 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning. She is up working, not working. I'm up trying to work out, but she's up because she feels like she should be up, and her body wakes up her automatically. So she's waking up that early. She's going to school. She's having a productive day. So by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, her body is ready to rest and recover, is what I call it. So yesterday, she had screen time, and her iPad died before screen time was over. And she literally was having a meltdown because she couldn't believe her iPad died, even though she didn't, physically charge it. And instead of me, what I would normally have done in my early years of parenting is, girl, hush. I want to say it, hush. I would say, girl, shut up. The iPad is dead. You ain't getting it. Don't make me take it away from you tomorrow. Something like that. But in my new way of parenting, I had to really sit there and say to her, I'm so sorry that your iPad is dead. I know you wanted it, and I know you want it to last through the time, but unfortunately it's dead. So maybe tomorrow you can make a different choice when you go to school. Maybe put it on the charger before you leave. But don't just leave it in the car because that's draining your battery. Like, I'm saying all these things to a 5-year-old, and I had him like, girl, what? Why? She's 5. But I could tell that she really, really did understand, and she really was paying attention, but she continued to cry, and she continued to cry. And so, the blueprint that we are used to, or that I'll speak for myself, that I'm used to, is get her to be quiet. Like, get her to be quiet because it's annoying me, right? But the new blueprint, I guess I'm paving for myself. This is discovery for me, y'all. I'm paving my own blueprint. Woohoo! New I'm discovering for me is let her cry it out, right? She is having she has an emotion, a feeling that she needs to get through. And if she cannot figure out how to calm herself down or handle her emotions properly as an adult, it can, or it may create other issues for her. So allow her to get this out the way that she needs to. So I allow her to cry and finish. So when we get home, she gets ready for bed, and she is very upset. Like, she's very much like, I'm going to go brush my teeth. I'm going to go clean my face. I'm going to put on my pajamas. But she was not having it. She did not want to brush her teeth. She, wanted to lock herself in the bathroom. And through all of this, I'm like, whose child is this? Like, why, why am I raising a child like this? But again, she's 5. She doesn't have full control of her emotions. And to expect her to behave like an adult and have control over her emotions is just insane, right? There are a lot of adults that don't even have control of their emotions. So to expect a 5-year-old to be in that space and to have control is, a little bit, unexpected, I would say. So with her there. So she says, I would like a new mommy. You heard me right. She said, I would like a new mommy. And I said, wow, at first I didn't feel like maybe I should have felt hurt, but I didn't. I didn't feel anything. Part of me was like, yes, girl, get you a new mother. Let's find her for you right away. Let's go find her. But I didn't say anything. And so she asked me to do something for her. And now this is petty. Now listen, when I tell y'all all these stories, please know that I'm not perfect. I am a work in progress. I am still working. God is still working on me. I am still working through all of the things that are the things. Okay. So she says to me, Mommy, can you help me put on my pajamas? My response, no. Go get your new mama to help you put on your pajamas. Now, I get it. I know that is petty. That is so petty. I get it. I understand. Didn't stop it from coming out of my mouth, though. It sure enough came out. So my response was, go get your new mama. Go ask your new mama to help you put on your pajamas, because I'm done. I'm through. You just told me you wanted a new mother. Okay, so go get her. So she said, oh, fine. So she goes to get her father. And then she proceeds to say, I want a new daddy. So he's like, fine, leave, bye. So she walks to the door. Now we have a very bold 5-year-old. She walks to the door and she goes was about to go out the door. Now, my husband has tried a similar incident as a child, so I blame him. He knows what I'm talking about. So we go on a little bit later in the night. And she's like, so if I go, I'm just going to take my Barbies and I'm going to take my clothes. Pause, 5-year-old. They're not your clothes. They're my clothes, right? I pay for those clothes. They don't belong to you. They're not yours. That's number one. Because you don't have no job and you don't have no money. You live here, but you don't have a job or money. So you don't get to take the clothes. And she was like, but they're mine. No, no, no. I let you borrow them. Okay. As a responsibility as your mother. Okay. I provide those for you. But if I am no longer your mother, that's no longer in my job title. So you ain't getting them. Okay. Well, she's like, I can take my Barbies and my Barbie dream house. No, no, no. No, you cannot. You can take your Barbie. When you got money for your birthday, you had cash, you purchased a Barbie. That's yours. You can take that with you. But the dream house and the other Barbie things, no, ma'am, they belong to me. Yes, they were a gift to you for Christmas. But if different parent, you got different grandparents. So if your grandparents bought you this stuff, leave the stuff from my parents. Okay. Now listen, I know all of this is petty. Yeah, I get it. But you got to talk to the 5-year-old petty sometimes. I know this is probably terrible, wrong parenting. So I would not advise this to anybody. I'm not saying follow this rule, don't follow this advice, but this is just me. And again, if you have advice for me on how to do this better, please hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on TikTok, and leave me some comments or suggestions. But for the moment, this is how this went down. So she says, but no, they're mine. And I explained to her, they are not yours. They are mine. As your parent, as your mother, I purchased these things for you so that you can have a roof over your head, so that you can have a bed to sleep on, so that you can have, running water, so that you're able to brush your teeth, so that you have toys to play with. But if you are no longer under my care, I can't do that for you. Now, I hope and pray that your new mother can provide these things to you. But as for me, this mother that you have here that you no longer want, yeah, my job is officially over. I may let you take some clothes with you and may let you take a suitcase, because those clothes that you have, they're no use to me, right? They're no use to me anymore. So you can take those clothes with you. But again, when you leave this house, if I'm no longer your parent, you want a new one, that's fine. Then, yeah, you can do that, but don't think you got no ties here. So then she goes, but they're not mine? No, honey, they are not yours. You have been living here rent free for 5 years. 5 years rent free. We don't make you pay a single bill, but we about to because you tested me. Okay. 5 years rent free. So she's like, none of this is mine. None of it is yours, honey. It ain't yours. It's mine. It belongs to me and your father. We bought it. Okay. We let you use it, but we can take it away anytime. So she she thought about it. She contemplated. And then she said, think that was very nice of me to say. Yeah, I don't think it was very nice of you to say. So I said, let's have a conversation. Now, again, she's 5. So I say to her, you know what, Jaya, what you said really hurt my feelings. Because I feel like I do everything that I should do for you as a parent. And the fact that you just want to leave, it's kind of hurtful. Then I said, here's another thing. Just because I'm not giving you everything you want when you ask for doesn't mean I'm a bad parent. I'm actually a pretty darn good parent. And again, I'm talking to the 5-year-old. I actually am a really darn good parent. I do everything that I can do and provide for you and your sister. And I actually enjoy it, but I'm not going to be disrespected. And I'm not going to allow you to continue to talk to me this way or ask for a different parent just because you're not getting your way. I said, the fact that you were upset that you didn't get your way means I'm doing a good job as a parent. I'm going to continue to do that. And so she's like, I'm just so sorry. I never meant to hurt your feelings. I didn't realize what I said was wrong. Could you please give me some snuggles or please give me a hug? And I did. But it's definitely out of the norm for me. Like that conversation I had was with the 5-year-old. I don't ever remember my parents, my mom, having a conversation with me like that ever, even to this day as a grown up. Sometimes when I'm parenting, my mom is like, what are they doing? So for example, my kids, when they argue, I don't break up arguments. Simply because I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. Can I be honest with y'all? Okay, don't tell nobody this. But I don't break them up because I don't care, chat. Listen, don't involve me in these arguments. Like, I have things to do that I'm doing, and if I get in your argument and break it up, that's adding something else to my plate that I don't have time for. But on a serious note, I just don't do it because I don't believe me fixing their fight is helping them build good conflict resolution skills. Meaning, if they're always in a fight and I'm always resolving it, then they're not building that skill for themselves, right? They are not learning. Okay, my sister's being a butthole. What can I do? Okay, my sister just bopped me upside of the head. Do I tackle her or do I tell her how I feel? Like, they need to know how to do that. Now, sometimes they'll come to me and say, Mommy, my sister did blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, what did you do to your sister? I did blah, 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 blah. Okay, do you think it's just a reaction to what you did? Do you think that if you did something different, then maybe she would have did something different? Yeah, okay, then maybe you talk to her and y'all can get it out. But a lot of the times they don't talk to each other. They're talking at each other and looking at me and expecting me to settle it, and I don't. And so that was different for my mom because they would argue and she would say, hey, cut it out. And I'm like, no, let them argue, let them fight, let them fuss. It's not your fight. It's not your fight. It's not my fight. Let's sit here. Let's have a conversation like adults and then let them fight in the background. And she's like, well, how can you sit there and do that? Easy, like this. And then, I continued about my business, but it's just a different parenting style. And I get that. Like, I get maybe this parenting style is extremely radical for some people. I totally understand that. And I'm not asking you to follow this method by any means. But for me and my kids and what I'm learning, it just works. Like, have them figure out their own conflict. Like, there has to be a point where they have great conflict resolution skills, because your mother is not going to always be there, or your father is not going to always be there to break up a fight or break up argument that you're having with a coworker, or that you're having with this business owner, right? Or this property that you're trying to manage, or this empire that you're trying to build. You need to develop those for yourself. So I feel like if you can tough it out with a sibling, oh, that's all the skill in the world, because siblings are tough. Like, siblings are harder. They go harder than any other species. So if you can tough it out with your sibling, then I think you have built up a great tolerance of skills. So yeah, that's, I know it sounds crazy and radical, and somebody's probably got their hand on their forehead going, this woman is crazy. Her kids are crazy. And that's true. We already established I'm a little bit crazy. But yeah, it's a different parenting style, and it just works for me. It may not work for anybody else, but it just works for us, works for our family. And like, decisions, like, I don't ever remember as a child, maybe I was, I don't being ever remember being able to weigh in on big decisions, right? And so that's another thing that's different for me too. Is like, no, we're going to do this and you're going to like it because we chose this for you. But for us, we realize that we are not giving our kids an opportunity to make choices also, or have a say so in major opportunities. Like, my oldest daughter has a goal to go out of the country, and she really wants to go, to Paris and the UK and all those countries. And so it's like, okay, you write it down on the list and we will get it together, right? She wants to go to the Olympics. I think it's in Paris in 2024 or something like that. And so it's like, as a family, we're planning, okay, we are going to go to the Olympics and we are going to, make that decision. So for the first time this year, normally we don't go anywhere on spring break. We just stay home, we just work, and they go to some type of camp, right? You go do something fun and we're just going to work and continue to make money. But this year was the first year we decided everybody's just going to take a break. It has been a long 2.5 years or however long we've been in this pandemic. It's very rare that we can all get time off from no sports, no activities, no work. We're all going to just take time off and we're just going to go somewhere. So we decided as a family, we would make a decision to go somewhere. We would let the kids choose what we did. So my oldest, Jordan, wanted to go glamping. Now, let me just say this, not something I want to do. I have no desire. Take me to the beach. Let me just clarify that. I don't want to be in the water. I want to be in the shade somewhere. Um, Maybe not even in the sand because I don't care for the sand, but I love the look of beautiful water. I love, take me by the pool, Chad. That's all I want. I think that's what I meant. Take me to the pool, not that water, not the ocean water. Take me to the pool water. Okay. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way. Um, she wanted to go glamping, and I am very grateful that she chose glamping over camping, right? There's a difference. Yes, there's a difference. So camping, I believe you're roughing it, you're in a tent, and when you are glamping, you are in a home, a cottage, a cabin. You have toilet paper, praise the Lord for that. You have a bathroom and a shower. Okay, those are all things that the good Lord invented that we should just be using, and not be without. Just kidding. Well, not really. So yeah, she chose glamping. So we decided to put 10 states on a whiteboard, and we went through each state, and we basically went over some things like, how can we fly, or do we have to fly? Can we drive? Is it how long is the drive? Would we have to rent a vehicle? Because y'all, we have old cars. I mean, before we start the cars, we praying, Lord Jesus, please let this car start, or please don't let this car leak no more oil, or our cars have a little bit of rust on them. But listen, don't feel sorry for us, child, because these cars still run and they still get us to where we need to get to. So don't feel bad for us, because we may not have the fanciest cars, but these cars run. Okay, so don't worry about that. Don't feel bad for us. But that was the reason why we're asking about how we're gonna how would we get there. We're checking on protocols, like, do they allow pets? Are there other activities to do in the area? Like, are we just going glamping and looking at each other for a whole week, or are there other things near us that we can do? Another thing that we're checking, like, what are their COVID protocols? A lot of the states are lifting those things. So that's not much as big of a deal now. But yeah, that's one of the things that we are looking at. And she's working on history in school. So part of the states that she chose, I never would have decided to go to any of these states, but she is working on them in school. Let's see, she chose Arizona, Utah, some of these were me, and it's because of my friends. So Iowa, hey, Tennessee, Atlanta, Florida, West Virginia, hey. Let's see. There were 10 states. I can't remember them all, but just going over each state one by one, and deciding, okay, it's a 23-hour drive. I'm not doing that. Okay. So let's check on plane tickets. It's $600 a person. Okay. We're not doing that again. We're not doing that either. So let's cross that state out. So we did finally land on a state as a family, which I'm super excited for a couple of reasons. Number one, she gets to see the state that she chose. We get to do activities in that state. It's a state that I have never been to before. They've never been to before. It's a state within driving distance. So we have an opportunity as a family to have some more bonding time and drive. Um, yeah, so I'm excited for that. She even told me the other day, so I'm gonna write about this state in my report at school. And I'm like, that's fantastic, right? That's the whole goal, is to kind of relate some of these life experiences to school, because school can be monotonous and you think, oh, once I'm never gonna use any of these things in real life. So just being able to say, okay, we are going to this state, let's about it in school or whatever you're going to do, is just amazing to see her relate to the two together. And I just was over the moon and overjoyed to even hear her say that. Another thing is realizing that your kids are different or have um, need attention in special areas. Maybe I didn't say that right. So my youngest, even though she's an early riser, she does not like to sleep. And when you ask her, like, you say, can you just go to sleep? She says, I don't know how. And Number one, that's powerful, right? For her as a 5-year old to number one, identify it and tell you. And then number two, to actually hear it and accept it, right? I don't know how. So I think in the beginning, I was like, what do you mean you don't know how to go to sleep? You just get in the bed, you put your head on your pillow, you close your eyes. That's how you go to sleep. You do know how. You've been going to sleep since you were an infant. You were going to sleep in the womb. And so for her to say, Mommy, I really don't know how, was very powerful. And I don't think we used to parent that way, right? We just be like, get in the room, close your eye. If you get out of that bed one more time, if I see your face in this hallway, it's gonna be me and you, because that's basically how it used to be. Before she ever expressed that she didn't know how to go to sleep, I would just be like, why are you up again? What are you doing? Didn't I put you in the bed? Listen, and that's mainly because I'm gonna speak for myself. As a parent, once they go to sleep, it's game time, right? I feel free. I feel like I can walk around the house in my drawers. Oh, sorry, that may be a little bit too much for everyone. My underwear, okay? Underwear will be more formal, more professional. Walk around the home and I'm just chat. That ain't me. Walk around the house naked if you want to, or you have some other things to finish up, like you need to finish up some laundry, or you want to watch a Netflix show, or you want to, cuddle with your spouse. You can do all of that once they go to sleep. But if they ain't going to sleep, it delays the inevitable, number one. And number two, I got to keep going back. So luckily, I have an amazing group of friends, and I mentioned this to my girl Jill. Shout out to Jill. And there was this seminar being offered on sleep, and there are so many things that I didn't know when it came to sleep, like the amount of screen time, a routine, what they're doing beforehand, what they're eating, how they're feeling. All of that impacts their sleep. And so, in order to get her into good sleep, she has to have a routine. She's a very, very specific, strict child. You have to do the same exact thing with her every single day at the same exact time, and or she doesn't function properly. So from this seminar, I actually learned that giving her a bath at night was counterproductive. So the feeling of the bath, the sensation of the water was actually waking her up and making her more awake. Therefore, she was not ready to go to bed, after at 8:30 after a bath at 7 o'clock. So we had to totally switch our mindset. So, you do the bath at night so that in the morning you're just ready to get up and go and move quicker. But that was counterproductive to her. So we actually have switched from giving her a bath at night to giving her a bath that morning. In the morning, cutting screen time like 3 hours before, making sure she has a lot of food, a lot of protein in her belly so that she can sleep. And it really has helped. Like we don't get those I can't sleep. We don't get those as much anymore because she is able to go to sleep. Usually it's within a half an hour of putting her down, which has been an amazing, amazing blessing. So sometimes I just sit there and lay there with her, and I ain't gonna lie, I end up falling asleep with her. But yeah, just switching some of those things up were extremely helpful, because I was like, I don't know if we should take her to see someone. And that seminar really was eye-opening. So if you have an opportunity, if your kid is telling you something like that, you have an opportunity to get some sleep education or see a sleep specialist, I would recommend it, because it has been tremendous for us so far. Obviously, on the weekends, we try to do things differently, but I'm not quite sure we should be doing that. Allowing extra sleep time or extra time to stay awake. But we try to offer it as a treat. But again, I don't know who is benefiting from it, her or us. I would say nobody at this point. Another thing that is hard to determine as a parent is traditional things. So, all of our kids are very traditional. So if you have kids in the car, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, or maybe you just want to mute it. But let's see, I will actually call it the bearded guy that visits us in December. How about that? The bearded guy. And so that is something that we struggled with as parents. I say I struggled with as parents. My husband and I actually didn't agree on this topic, but um, when our oldest was younger, I was just like, I'm not going to take her to see him. I'm just not going to do it. There's just no point. We all know how it works. We all know what his role is, and we all know what our role is. So I'm not going to perpetuate this whole thing. But once she was older and she was able to say, "Hey, I want to go see him," or "How come we never see him?" We did. We made the trip. We did it a couple times. But when our youngest was born, she just did not like him. The first time we went to visit him, she cried and screamed bloody murder. We thought it was just a fluke because she was younger. Obviously, she was she wasn't quite one yet. She was 11 months. And then so the second time, same thing, scream bloody murder, and we could not figure out what was happening. So not recently, let's see, maybe four, no, 3 and 4, nobody was sitting on anybody's lap because we were in a pandemic. But this year, I will say, was the first year she was able to vocalize her thoughts on visiting him. So she speaks about him a lot. We don't really at home, but I'm assuming that they do at school and her friends do. But she speaks about him a whole lot. But when she is faced with him in person, she's not interested. She's not amused. Her thought is always, why do I have to sit on his lap? And at first, when we heard that as parents, we were like, that is a great question, because traditionally, that's what we do. We just send our kids there. We don't know this person, but we tell our kids we do. We put our kids on their lap and we just let them take the picture. But she, every time, says, I am not sitting on your lap. I do not know you. And it's like rewarding as a parent, but not, right? Because it's like, oh, what are people going to think we're teaching our children? But we all teach our kids stranger danger. And if you think about it, this person legit is a stranger. Like, the idea of him is not strange, but the actual person, yeah, they're a stranger. So this year she had an opportunity. He's like, come sit on my lap. She said, no, thank you. I'm gonna stand right here. And so she did. She stood there, but she was like, come on, mommy, come get in the picture. So we all got in the picture as a family. But again, it's like, am I robbing her of traditions, or am I doing her a disservice of not forcing her? In my opinion, I don't think so. She is very adamant about what she likes and what she doesn't like. She likes the idea of this person, but she's just not going to sit on his lap. And so I think as parents, we are just like, okay, you don't want to sit on the lap, you don't have to sit on the lap, and we're okay with it. But I can tell you that not everybody in my family is excited about that, or they agree with that. But I think the good news is, right, we're carving or creating our own blueprint for our kids, and I think that's the part that is exciting. So this one is a blueprint that my husband and we don't always agree on it, but we're probably just going to go with what he says because that's how we roll in our house. But to allow your kids to ride the bus to school or not. So right now our kids they live in a different district, so we have to drive them to and from school. But next year, he's like, everybody's getting on the bus. Everybody's getting on the bus. So I'm like, that's fine. You can get on the bus. But I'm like, what if it's raining at the bus stop? What if it's snowing? He's like, they can wait at the bus stop. They can wait in the rain. They can wait in the snow. Back in my day, I'm like, but we sound like old folks. And then it becomes, are you a cruel parent letting your kids wait for the bus in the rain, or wait for the bus in the snow? When, you can see all of their friends are clearly in a car and your kid is the only one waiting in the rain. I mean, clearly we would make sure they had an umbrella, but is it cruel to make your kids wait in the rain now, or wait at the bus stop in the snow? My husband seems to think it makes them them tough and make them better, but I'm like, no, they need to be in the car so they're not sitting in the rain catching a cold. And he explains to me, you're not going to catch a cold from sitting in the rain. We have this discussion all the time. They're not going to catch a cold from sitting in the rain, and they would have an umbrella. And kids nowadays, they have rain boots, they have rain jackets, they have umbrellas, they have all these things that they cover their book bags with. And I'm like, let's put them in the car. When the bus comes, well, they can wait for the bus in the car. And he's like, well, aren't you supposed to be working? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. I'm supposed to be I'm supposed to be working. So it's a struggle. It's about we haven't gotten there yet. So I don't know. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, traditionally, what do you do? What works best for you? Why wouldn't you do the other thing? Please hit me up on Instagram, life, love, laughter _Nikki, and let me know, because I'm extremely curious to know, I guess, what most people are doing. Like I said, my kids will probably be the ones waiting at the bus stop, um, all alone. Maybe not all alone. We will probably be there with them. See, that's the thing. If I'm standing at the bus stop waiting with you, I'm not standing in the rain. So we're gonna be in this car because I don't want to stand in the rain. Like I have a kindergartner next year. I'm not standing in the rain. So we are going to be in the car where it's nice and dry because I'm not getting wet. But I think my kids would also love staying in the rain. They love jumping in muddy puddles, starring that Peppa Pig. But yeah, it's hard to know which one is the right one. I feel like whatever one works best for your family. But again, my family is divided, so we'll see what happens. I will keep y'all posted. And I know this topic I've already discussed, but using profanity, curse words. I know it was a hot topic in some places. Shout out to Natasha, but I mean, it's true. We do allow just our oldest, to, use the words that she's probably going to use quite often in middle school. I already mentioned that there's certain people that she can't say it in front of. She explained to her cousin yesterday that she only says them at home, and it's true. I don't know, that is very controversial. Probably, no, I'm not gonna say probably, very non-traditional, but it just works, for us. We do also allow them to ask questions. So sometimes they'll be like, Mommy, why are we, you know, getting up every single day or doing this every single day? And what I want to say is, because I said so. That's why we're doing it. But what we have been doing lately is there something about this process that you would do differently or that you don't like? And we allow them to express themselves and say how they feel, and we go over it. So um, one thing is like keeping a clean room. Instead of keep your room clean at all times, we are currently going through this phase with my oldest. I am currently reading this book called Smart But Scattered. And I originally got this book because my oldest is a little bit messy. And I believe it's not because she wants to be, it's maybe because, she has some skills that may be a little bit underdeveloped. And I thought this would be a great way to help her develop those skills. So I think for me, it's normally like, keep your room clean. Why can't you keep your room clean? Let's keep it clean every Saturday. Let's go through all of those things. And that traditionally wasn't working, right? You clean on Saturday, but on Saturday you clean for however long it takes to keep your room clean. And that's no fun for anybody. You have things that you want to do on a Saturday, even on a Friday. And then other days during the week, we are just extremely busy as a family. So it's hard to do. So with this book, I'm learning that there are certain executive skills that we all have. Who knew? And sometimes those executive skills are not developed as well as they should be as children. And so this book kind of helps you help your children with those skills, help them where their executive skills are not as strong. One of the things that is very eye-opening is sometimes those executive skills are not as um, advanced in you as an adult, right? So keeping your room clean and organized may be an executive skill that you lack, and your child also lacks, but you're expecting your kid to succeed or be great in something that you're also not good at. And that is extremely, extremely tough. So for me, this book was like, oh man, I don't have these skills either. So keeping the room clean is one that I think causes the most heartache, the most heartburn for our family. And it's not because she doesn't want to keep her room clean. I truly believe that she would love, love, love to keep her room clean. So the traditional Saturday cleaning just doesn't work for us as a family. We have started every single night for about 10 minutes, just going through her room and doing a massive, like, deep clean. And this is just initially to get us started. I feel like once we get through the entire room, and I get through this entire book, I will look at it a little bit differently. But right now, sometimes it's more than 10 minutes if we have more than 10 minutes. But we're just going in and just decluttering. I think as our generation, our society, we just want to give our children the world. Like we want them to have everything they need. When in reality, they can't even handle a city, let alone a state, let alone their home. Versus, giving them a world that they're clearly not going to handle if they can't handle, handle it on a smaller scale. So we so far have been going through her closet and we've just like, look, if you are wearing the same 7 pants over and over again every single day, that's fantastic. Let's get rid of the other 10 pants that are in here. Let's either save them for your sister when she's older, or let's donate them to someone, because clearly they're just taking space, um, and they're not giving you the proper room to be able to, take your clothes off, and hang them back up. Or when your laundry is clean, hang your laundry back up. There are some shoes that you're never going to wear. Okay, let's get rid of them so that you can have space in your closet. There's socks that you're never going to wear, you're never going to put together. Either put them together so you can wear them mismatched, or let's get rid of them so you can, again, make space for more and declutter. And we have been doing that. I can tell you it's very, very tough. She is, I would say, sentimental. Oh, this is the first, XYZ I got. Oh, I got this when I was 5. I'm like, but you have like 3. So do you want to keep it? And it's very hard because traditionally, I know in my family, we keep everything. Oh, this was your first tooth. This was your, you lost your hair. Me as a parent, I'm like, I'm not keeping all these teeth. I'm not keeping all this hair. I'm not doing that. And I'm not keeping all these macaroni necklaces. First of all, I don't want the macaroni necklace. Okay, let's take a sidebar real quick. I am thankful for our teachers. They are amazing. But I think every year I get a new macaroni necklace. And so I don't know how many macaroni necklaces I can take. I'll just say that the first 2 from each child, so one from the oldest, one from the youngest, I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. Thank you. I'll keep the macaroni necklace. But okay, let me ask this question. Am I supposed to wear this macaroni necklace every single time they bring it home for the first time? Like, am I supposed to actually go out in public and wear them? Now, listen, I have, and I do. But how many times am I supposed to do it? Every single first time they bring it? I guess I am supposed to do it. I'm talking to myself because I'm trying to talk myself into this and tell myself it's okay. So put on the macaroni necklace, go out in public to help them build their confidence. Okay, yep, I can do that each time. But do I have to keep these things? That's what I want to know. Do I have to keep these macaroni necklaces every single time? Because, boy, they are something. And I love them, for being creative and creating them and giving them to me as a gift and thinking of me. But when I tell you, I don't know how many macaroni necklaces I can keep. Um, yeah, that's what I tell you. So let me know. Do you have all of your kids' macaroni necklaces? I know people keep stuff like that. Like my mom has some things that I've made when I was younger. Like this I had to make a stocking, a Christmas stocking. And let me tell you, it was the worst stocking ever. It was terrible. I did not know how to stitch a thing. It was awful. As a parent, if my kid would have made that, I would have been like, what the heck? But my mom, shout out to her, she kept it. She still has it. When she puts up her Christmas tree, it's on the Christmas tree. But that thing is ugly, and it should have been in the trash a long time ago. But she's saying she gonna keep it, and then she was like, "When I go, you can have it." No, I can't. Like, I don't want it. I no. If your goal is to keep it and then gift it to me, then I would suggest maybe just getting rid of it because I don't, I don't want it. I don't want it. So to get back to my point, yeah, we've been going through and just getting rid of stuff. Having the proper organizational tools has been helpful as well. So like, help trying to help her. She's very good at organizing, but making sure she has the right tools. So traditionally, I'm like, let's just go to the dollar store and get you what you need, girl. But sometimes they don't match with her type of organization style. So just taking her to places and letting her see, what she could be using for organizing. Let's get you a bin for organizing. Maybe we have too many compartments for you because you traditionally like to store everything. Maybe we need a nightstand instead of a desk. And some of those things, maybe you need pictures, right? And so I like to write little labels and put labels on it so she could read it. But because she is so creative and she has a very creative mind, maybe she needs a picture of what will be stored in that particular bin so that it's easier and better for her to organize. So we've been doing that. And I must say she has been excited about doing it. Like if I forget, Mike, Mom, are we going to do our 10 minutes? Which is, happy. For me as a mom, if I like forget and I moved on to something else, it's like, oh, I want to move on to that other thing. But it's very like heartwarming and exciting to see her excited about keeping her space clean, keeping her space organized. Because I truly feel like if her room is clean, her mind is clear and she can think better and she can work in a better space. And that's allowing her to maximize her potential, which is all that we all want as parents. So I'm not done with this book yet. There's a whole lot, like there's so many topics that you can just cover by reading this book alone. So maybe I will dedicate an episode to doing that. But it truly is eye opening. The book again is called Smart But Scattered. And again, I got it because some of the feedback that I received from her teachers. And, my head, I'm like, she's a really smart kid. She's not stupid. So, why can't she keep her room clean? Or why can't she remember to throw away trash. And I'm learning that there are some executive skills that need a little bit developing. So the goal is to try to help her develop these skills and to just get better. I think it's going to help me be better too, because it also has you as a parent take these assessments. And when I tell you, it's eye opening to see yourself in that light. Honey boo boo, it is very helpful to see yourself in that light. I really don't have much time to touch on another topic, so I'm not going to do that. But I will say again to all of the parents, grandparents, neighbors, aunts, uncles, peoples, and villages, you all are amazing. You all are doing a great job. Thank you for continuing to do what you do. I know it is tough in this day and age in a pandemic, but keep trucking, keep trying. You are doing the absolute very best that you can do. If you feel challenged by your child, or you feel like you want to make a difference or you want to make a change, that's okay. It's okay to not be the traditional person or follow the traditional ways, because our kids are different, and everything that we are doing for them is to make sure that they have the skills that they need to be better, to be great, to be leaders in the society, to be good citizens, to be respectful. And I think, as long as you're making changes for the better, then why not? Nobody can knock you, and if they do knock you, who cares? They ain't paying your bills. Anyway, so again, shout out to all of you. You are all doing an amazing job. Kudos to you. Bravo. All of those things, because it is not easy in this world. It's never easy to know when you are doing something right and when you are doing something wrong. Here, I know I said I was going to close, but here, we recently lifted the mask mandates, and even getting vaccinated was a thing. My husband's like, she gonna get vaccinated because she's gonna protect herself. And I'm like, well, you can't really make that decision for her, right? It's a decision for her to make. If she wants to get vaccinated, she can get vaccinated. But if she doesn't have to. Don't force her to. So we allowed her to make that decision. And also they lifted the mask mandate. So in schools, we gave her all the facts. Here are the facts. Here's what the school is saying. And you have the right to choose if you would like to continue to wear a mask or not wear a mask. And, she made that decision for herself also, which I felt, very good about, and she felt very good about. And she is able to make, I'm just elated and overjoyed when she gets to make those decisions for herself, and we're not, forcing her, hey, you're going to do this because we said so. Yeah, even wearing jackets. My kids are very different, and they don't like to wear jackets all the time. And so what I try to do is give them the best info. Look, it is 32 degrees outside. That means it is cold. It will be 30 degrees later. That means the temperature is going to drop. It is cold. You can go outside. You can see how it feels and make a decision for yourself. Most of the time, they're like, okay, let me go see how it feels, right? Because they want to know for themselves, because parents don't know nothing. So they go outside and feel, oh, it's cold. Let me wear a jacket. Sometimes they go outside and say, I don't think I need a jacket, and they don't. And so I allow them to not wear a jacket. But I will tell you, I'm petty. If we go somewhere and they say, oh, it's cold, I'm saying, yep, it sure is. And I told you to put on the jacket, and I told you to bring a jacket as a backup, and you didn't. So sometimes I zip my jacket up to my chin and say, I'm warm. I'm just kidding. Well, I don't say I'm warm, but I do zip my jacket up to my chin. And I'm a little petty. There are times when they're really cold and I can't take them being that cold, and I'll offer them mine. But traditionally, I'm like, listen, I gave you the information that I had to make your decision. You went outside and you made your decision. Unfortunately, it is still cold. That has not changed. And I'm so sorry that you're freezing. But, we try to give them the tools. I know. It's not traditional, but, it is what it is. I like that saying. Anyway, thank you again for tuning in. Remember, if you ever miss the original air date on Saturday at 11 a.m., you can always catch the replay on Mondays at 6:30 a.m. So you can listen to it on your way to work if you're still going into work. And don't forget to download the Spinwax Radio app, available on iOS and Android. And yeah, guys, until next time, do something that brings you joy, makes you laugh, and speaks to your soul. I love you so much. Have a great week.